It's another edition of Time About the Movies. Today we're taking a look at the films of September 19th, 2003. We got 5 films to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on a new one. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Kate Beckinsale starring in the battle between vampires and werewolves, Underworld.
I am a death dealer, sworn to destroy those known as the Lycans. Our war has raged for centuries, unseen by human eyes. But all that is about to change.
Underworld, rated R.
I'm also banging the director, so that's why I've got a big part in a movie like this. No joke. I think everybody kind of knows that Kate Beckinsale and Len Wiseman are a couple, so... And you know, the old saying in Hollywood is never work with your spouse, but... Turns out these two work well off each other when it comes to these successful films, and financially successful films. The films themselves, not so much. But then again, it's also like that with the Resident Evil movies. Paul W.S. Sanderson and Mila Jovovich. But that's another story altogether. But in this film... You have a story that's the centerpiece. The centerpiece of it is the secret history between vampires and werewolves, or as they call them in this movie, Lycans, which is an abbreviated form of a lycanthrope. The main plot revolves around Celine, played by Beckinsale, who's a vampire death dealer hunting Lycans. She finds herself attracted to a human, Michael Corbin, played by Scott Speedman, who is being targeted by the Lycans. After Michael is bitten by a Lycan, Celine must decide whether to do her duty and kill her or go against her clan and save him. So... It's kind of like Pocahontas in a way. I mean, it's the same. It's almost the same kind of story, except Pocahontas wasn't a vampire. Wasn't a vampire who wanted to kill werewolves, and John Smith wasn't, but was a man who was turned into a werewolf in this case. And I mean, I'll give the movie this. Some of it does kind of work. Kate Beckinsale, you know, I make fun of her because, you know, she was banging the director, but you know what? For a film like this, she works here pretty well. I mean, you do really like her performance in this. You can tell that she is giving it her all. Like, she isn't having any relationships with the director. Like, she's really giving it her all in this performance. You know, the visual style of the film looks pretty cool in general. The mythology they kind of set up really is something that is kind of interesting, and I kind of wish they would have expanded on it a little bit more. I know they do it in other movies, but it gets stupider and stupider with every film. In this film... It's not good enough for me to say that it's something that I would recommend. It's a film that really takes a really cool idea and just doesn't really do anything with it. It's very pretentious at times, and it runs way too long. It's tedious. I mean, it's a film that's over 2 hours long, just a little over 2 hours long. I think 121 minutes. I think was the final runtime for this, and you just never really feel like you get the full grasp of what they were trying to go with here. And like I said, they do expand on this in other movies, but when they keep expanding it, it just gets stupider and stupider with every movie that comes out. And they've done, like, what, 5 movies up to this point? 5 or 6, I think. But I mean, here, it's like, there's good ideas to it. There's some fun ideas in general here, but it never goes to that second level to make the film really become the film that you think it should be. I think it's a film that has a lot of good ideas to it, some really cool visuals, a good leading performance, but just not enough in the execution of the story to really take it to the next level, to make it that film that has to be a must-see film. And it's kind of a shame, too, because, like I said, I badmouthed this performance and Kate Beckinsale and the director in the beginning, but you could see that they had a vision of what they were trying to do here, but when it was all said and done, you just really didn't get the full grasp of what they were trying to accomplish here. And I think that really is the weak link of the entire film, is that the story just isn't coming together well enough, and there's not much there to grasp the audience into wanting to keep coming back to these movies. I think the reason why this was such a success was because there wasn't really a whole lot there. I mean, there was a lot of... don't get me wrong, there was a lot of other better movies out there, but I don't know. Maybe it was because of Halloween, maybe it's because of why it was successful the first time around, but... Good ideas overall, but not enough for me to say it's something I would recommend. It's just something that's kind of like, it's okay for what it is, but I wouldn't watch it after one watch. Like, after one watch, I feel like I've accomplished my goal with this. And, like I said, they do get worse from here on out. So, if you're looking for the best one, here you go, Underworld. So with that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that is Secondhand Lions.
Last week, only one movie had audiences across America laughing and applauding. Secondhand Lions is one of the sizes. 4 stars. Smart and entertaining. It's refreshing to see a movie aimed at kids as well as grown-ups. I like it. And Jeffrey Lyons raves it's the best family film since Finding Nemo. Secondhand Lions, rated PG, now playing. And this Friday, be the first to see the new Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King trailer with Secondhand Lions in selected theaters.
Yeah, probably not a good sign if you're promoting the trailer premiere for The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King to get people to come to your movie. I mean, it's like the equivalent of saying, come see Scooby-Doo and you'll see the new Harry Potter trailer. I still gotta sit through Scooby-Doo. That's a problem. But unlike Scooby-Doo, this film is actually not half bad. I mean, it looks like a generic family film in general, but it does have a little bit more to it. I mean, it's a story where you have a young boy played by Haley Joel Osment who's an introvert who's sent to live with his eccentric great-uncles Robert Duvall and Michael Caine on a farm in Texas. This is written and directed by Tim McCandless, who did The Iron Giant, wrote the script for that, and David Kirshner is, of course, the producer behind the Child's Play movies, did a lot of stuff for Hanna-Barbera, was one of the main people behind The Page Master. This is a film that has a lot of talent on board here, and this is the last film I think that they tried to sell Haley Joel Osment on as a star after The Sixth Sense, because I think this was the last film he did before he kind of took that break from Hollywood after years of trying to be the next big thing, and they never really found a market for him. The movie is pretty good. It's a film that it can be very schmaltzy at times, but the writing and the direction of Tim McCandless, I think, really does shine through, and the casting of these 3 actors shows why they were all Oscar nominees. They all worked off each other very well here. You've also got a cast that also includes Kira Sedgwick, Josh Lucas, Deidre O'Connell. You got who else is in here? I'm at a loss for. I mean, there's people in here, but there's not a lot of names you probably recognize. Like if you see people faces and put names to them, like Mickey Catt or Emmanuel Volgier or Travis Willingham, you probably know who they are. But the big names in particular here, they do carry the film all the way through. And like I said, it's very schmaltzy at times. It does feel like it's all bordering on an Oscar bait type of movie where it could possibly go wrong in a millisecond, but it never really goes to that level. It knows where to play it safe. It knows how to keep you entertained, and it knows how to keep your investment, because you do get involved with everyone involved in this film. I mean, you do like the uncles. It's eventually during the movie. You do get behind Haley Joel Osment's character. You do get a sense that there is more to it than what it would look like from the trailers alone. It was a film that I didn't really expect a whole lot from the first time I saw it, but watching it in full, I'm glad I finally got to see what everyone else was seeing, because it was a film that definitely is a lot better than I think a lot of people gave it credit for. I mean, it's a film that I think works very well on its own. It's kind of a little underrated little gem. I'd say definitely check it out. I do think it's a film that definitely deserves a lot more attention than I think it's gotten. It's a really good film. It's a film that I was actually kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed. Speaking of movies that I'm kind of surprised I enjoy, Cuba Gooding Jr. actually did make a good movie in 2003, contrary to popular belief, with a movie that we'll have with him coming up next month, and then we had Boat Trip early in the year. Here's him with Beyonce Knowles in The Fighting Temptations.
No matter where you come from,
I want to be my girlfriend, sorry, but I want to marry Michael Jackson.
or where your dreams take you,
Congratulations, you've just been promoted.
the one thing that never changes is the place called home.
How do you feel? I'm going straight back to New York City.
You don't know what you're missing. Oh, it's down south. We booty experts, bootyologists.
I'm on fire.
You really don't remember me? I was determined to be Mrs. Michael Jackson.
And how's that going?
Oh, it turns out I'm not his type.
Well, my only surviving relative. On the condition that Darren gets the choir accepted into the annual gospel competition.
I'm not needing some small town choir.
$150,000.
I was just kidding about that small town stuff.
Audition for the Baptist Church Choir now open.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, after Boat Trip and Radio, you really aren't the one that should be saying, you've got to be kidding me, Cuba. I mean, let's just be honest with you. But again, he had a good movie in 2003, and he stars in here as Darren Hall, who travels to his hometown of Monte Carlo, Georgia, where he attempts to revive a church choir in order to enter a gospel competition. He seeks the help of a beautiful lounge singer and childhood friend, played by Beyonce Knowles, and this was actually, I believe, this was second feature film after Austin Powers and Goldmember. I was going to say it's her first, but with whom he falls in love with. And throughout the choir's music, Darren brings the church community back together, all the while wooing Lily. And the film really is very good. The director of this is Jonathan Lynn, who gave us stuff like My Cousin Vinny. You know, he's made a ton of great movies in general. He also did Clue, The Distinguished Gentleman, the criminally underrated film Sergeant Bilko, Trial and Error, The Whole Nine Yards. Some fun movies in general. And this is a really good movie. I think it's a lot better. It's one of those ones that kind of like with Secondhand Lions. I think it's a better film than people let on. It's a film where, you know, everyone thought the chemistry between Gooding and Knowles didn't work very well. Quite the opposite. I think they work off each other well enough to make it worth it in the end. Yeah, the script is very much another movie, like a Sister Act type of thing, where we got, you know, or kind of a breaking kind of film where it's just like we got to save the rec center or save the church and all that type of stuff. But it works because, one, the music is very good. They have a lot of great music and covers in this. I mean, Beyonce singing Fever is just, I mean, it's Beyonce Knowles. What the hell do you expect? But and the acting overall is good. The comedy overall is very good. They've got a lot of great talent here to work off of these performances. Steve Harvey's in here, Faith Evans, Mike Epps, Wendell Pierce. There's a lot of cameos from like people like the Blind Boys of Alabama, Daphne Dupleix, Needy Links from the show The New Normal. You also have Melba Moore in here. A lot of great singers in general in here and actors in general to make this stuff work here. This is like Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry came to be. It's like a movie that, and I say that as like it's a bad thing. Like Tyler Perry's early work, I've actually started watching some of it because I'm going to have to get to it at some point. His early works, like Diary of a Mad Black Woman, is not as bad as you think it would be compared to what it is now. It's like, you could tell that Tyler Perry at least had an idea of what he was trying to accomplish here. And you can see little bits and pieces of that in this particular film. Maybe not all the way through, but it's definitely, it's like, I think like this is what Diary of a Mad Black Woman was trying to become was trying to become, and it became something completely different. But this film, very well done. Oh, Reba McClanahan is also in here too. I forgot to mention her. Good talent all the way through. It's a good movie by Cuba Gooding Jr. in 2003. I mean, this is at a point when he was at his lowest point in his career, and we're gonna get to the low point next month. You thought Boat Trip was bad? Oh, wait till we get to the third film he was in 2003. But we can at least say that this was probably this was easily his best film of the year. It was a film that is kind of very underrated. Underrated film for both Cuba and Beyonce Knowles. A good, fun film all the way through. I had a good time with it. I definitely think it's an underrated little gem. So let's move on to our next movie, which I don't know off the top of my head. Here it is. Dennis Quaid and Sharon Stone in Cold Creek Manor.
Anything about people who lived in the house before us?
They just disappeared. On September 19th, the suspense thriller of the fall will leave you breathless. Quick Matter. Rated R. Starts September 19th.
Wanting to escape city life on the countryside, New Yorkers Dennis Quaid and Sharon Stone and their 2 children move into a dilapidated old mansion still filled with the possessions of the previous family. Turning it into their dream home soon becomes a living nightmare when the previous owner, Stephen Dorff, shows up, and a series of terrifying events lead them on a spine-tingling search for clues to the estate's dark and lurid past. It's the Amityville Horror. I mean, it's the Amityville Horror meets What Lies Beneath, meets Night Swim, meets whatever the hell other movies you can think of here. And Mike Figgis really went out on a high note with this. This is the same director that gave us Leaving Las Vegas. But honestly, ever since then, he hasn't made a lot of good films in general. Leaving Las Vegas was a masterpiece pretty much, but this is one of his lowest points as a filmmaker. I mean, like I said, it's a knockoff. It's a bad knockoff of the Amityville Horror, except that it's not a supernatural demon coming out and killing these people. But we've seen the story done over and over again. It's the same type of movie. You've seen this done so many times, and they don't do anything different with it. I mean, too many good people involved in this movie. Like Dennis Quaid and Sharon Stone, I don't think I need to say how good they are as actors. Stephen Dorff can be a good actor too. Juliette Lewis is a great actress. Kristen Stewart, you forget that from the Twilight, outside of Twilight, she's a very good actress. Christopher Plummer's great. There's a lot of good talent involved here, and even the director's very good. But he just can't find that spark again that made Leaving Las Vegas the great film that was. And this film just feels like it's just trying to do something that feels like every other movie of its type has done before. It's a movie that just I mean, it's one of those movies that just feels like it's a mess. It's just ripping off so many other movies and thinking that we're going to be the next generation Amityville horror. No, you're just going to be another recopy of that film. Poltergeist is another thing you could probably bring into this too, but again, that's not really supernatural elements here. But yeah, this is not a very good film. This is a film that is just by the numbers. You see where it's going. You know how it's going to end. You know how it's going to turn out. It's just like it's not worth it in the long run. And people were smart enough to avoid it because it was not a huge hit when it came out. And yeah, you spent $45 million on this movie. Like, for $45 million, you better think of something better than this slop right here. But that is Cold Creek Manor. So how about we end the show on a better note? Let's talk about Woody Allen's newest film, probably one of his most underrated films in my opinion, and that is Anything Else.
We'll go inside, we'll have a good dinner, okay? We'll have some wine, you can relax.
Don't be mad at me, but I ate.
You ate?
I had a little sliver, that Sara Lee cream cheesecake, and then I had another one, and you know what I'm like when I get started. Before I knew it, I had finished the whole cake.
You ate the whole Sara Lee cream cheesecake?
And then I figured, what the hell? So I finished off the cold spaghetti in the refrigerator, and I ate that last lobster tail, and then I heated up some chicken. I've had a crush on you since we met. Couldn't you tell the way I was ignoring you?
There was something compelling about your apathy.
Do you think I'm fat?
I think you're amazing looking.
You must really have a crush on me.
I do?
I'd say it's fatal.
I can't believe I'm in love with a smoker.
So you see Jason Biggs, who plays a guy who meets with Woody Allen. They meet at a business meeting, become fast friends, and their commonality is that they are both fledgling New York City-based comedy writers, largely writing material for stand-up. They're Jewish, although David is an atheist, Woody Allen's character, and are each a bundle of different neuroses. Their big difference is that Jerry is 21 and David is 60, with 40 more years of life experience, knowledge, and neurosis. While Jerry writes full-time, he's also working on a novel. David keeps his day job as a public school teacher just in case. In the relationship, David becomes somewhat of Jerry's mentor, providing advice on Jerry's life issues, most revolving around the fact that Jerry is a product of inertia, having trouble learning anything, and leaving anyone, I should say. That's why Jerry's still with the only manager who's ever had him, played by Danny DeVito. He's not only become his only client, but he's also a testament to his effectiveness on the job. But Harvey is also a 25% take on the stipulation in their contract, which is extended for another 7 years. That's why Jerry is still in therapy, and a psychologist who has done him no good will advises Jerry to stay in therapy with him as opposed to taking the job in Los Angeles, California. This is a long synopsis I'm reading off here, so bear with me. But I'm going to get to my review in just a second here. But that's not being able to leave largely applies to his love life. Jerry already has one divorce. He's having problems with his current girlfriend, played by Christina Ricci, who he believes is the love of his life. He falls in love with her at first sight when he's already in a cohabitable relationship with Katie Strickland, playing Brooke, and Amanda's dating Jerry's friend, played by Jimmy Fallon. Even after Jerry begins sleeping with Amanda, he cannot be upfront with Brooke about the situation, leaving her to figure out the lies. What Jerry is unable or unwilling to see is that Amanda not only manipulates him, but that he focuses on the things between them that makes them truly compatible, while disregarding those many more things which makes them incompatible. What has made the relationship more difficult of late is that her mother, who's trying to find herself, has moved in with them in their small apartment. Despite David's unique view of life, he may be able to see Jerry and Amanda's relationship more clearly as an objective bystander. The question becomes how much of David's advice Jerry will take in its entirety. That was 2 minutes of me running a synopsis for this. And if you watch the trailer for this movie, this trailer does not do a very good job of selling the movie because it mainly focuses on the Jason Biggs and Christina Ricci relationship. I mean, the whole trailer is nothing but those two. I mean, it's a weird situation to put it in. Like, it's like they have this other big story, and you got all these big names in here: Woody Allen, Danny DeVito, Jimmy Fallon, Katie Strickland. I didn't even mention Stockard Channing is in this as well. Erica Leifson, Adrian Grenier, pre-Entourage, Fisher Stevens, Diana Krall. Like, there's a lot of people in this movie, and yet the trailer focuses just on Jason Biggs and Christina Ricci. In fact, the poster just focuses on Jason Biggs and Christina Ricci. Like, they're the focal point of the movie when they're kind of half the movie. So why would I be saying that this is kind of one of Woody Allen's underrated films? Well, aside from the trailer and the marketing kind of misselling you on it, it's probably the best Woody Allen movie I've seen from him since Mighty Aphrodite. I mean, it's a film where you see slowly but surely what makes Woody Allen great coming back in form. This is right before he had his big comeback with stuff like Match Point, and then Scoop, and then Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and then Midnight in Paris. These great movies that we'll eventually get down to here in the next couple of years, but this is a really fun film. I really enjoy it because it shows Jason Biggs. Like, Jason Biggs kind of gets a bad rap as an actor, but here's a movie where he does get to show what he can do as an actor outside, and he does play a character that's kind of different outside of his character from American Pie. Christina Ricci's very good in here. I like their chemistry together. I like Woody Allen's storyline here. I like the storyline he has with Stockard Channing. I like Danny DeVito in here. The humor in here works very well. It's definitely not one of the best Woody Allen movies, but it's definitely one of the ones that I think gets a bad rap because it was around that time period when Woody Allen was making these lesser films that weren't doing as well as they should. But this was starting to begin the trend of coming back to form for Woody Allen. I think that's what makes this movie work for me, is because you're starting to see a little bit of those tropes that Woody Allen does so well coming back into play here, and it works in this particular film. They've got a good cast to make it work. They've got good ideas to make it work. It's not really that long of a film, honestly. It's just a little over an hour and a half, and you do really get to see, slowly but surely, Woody Allen's prominence coming back into form here. Most people don't really appreciate it, but I think it's a very underrated film. I think it's a film that definitely deserves a lot more attention. It's a very fun film, a very well-written film, a good acted film overall. Excuse me. It just works. I think it works very well. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Anything else? And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll take a look at the last couple films of September 2003, including Dwayne Johnson and Sean William Scott and Peter Berg's action comedy The Rundown, Diane Lane starring in Under the Tuscan Sun, Ben Stiller and Drew Barrymore and Danny DeVito's Duplex. We also have National Lampoon's Presents Dorm Days, and also Pray for Rock and Roll with Dre DeMatteo and Gina Gershon. So, 5 films to take a look at next time. We'll take a look at those on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.